Hey, it's your girl Karman Kush, and on this episode of Kush and Convo, we have the legendary hip-hop producer, music exec, and recording artist Yogi joining us on the show today. Tune in as we discuss the good, the bad, as in BadBoy records, and the ugly in hip-hop. Yogi, don't laugh. I know you know me, and you know me under another pseudonym, but we're not on this platform. You won't have to call me Karman.
I know this is totally different. Nobody even told me. I swear.
Oh my God!
Y'all, you ain't saying nothing. Nobody said nothing.
Nobody told you?
Nobody told me.
That's fucked up. So they I'm sorry. I didn't give you the update. Yes. So, you know, I'm out in these streets. That's my name right now. That's what we doing. But thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
This is like legendary. Like you have like added like you raised my property value right now with this interview.
No, stop it.
No, seriously.
But I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me here.
Okay, well thank you. And so let's start from the beginning of your story. I've always wanted to know how you got your name. Was that like a childhood name or was that an industry given name?
It was a childhood name. I used to play Little League baseball. And I'm from the Bronx, and anybody that knows anything about baseball, Yogi Berra played for the Yankees. You know, he's like one of the greatest, you know, catchers. And I used to play back catcher. You know, little chubby kid, you know, playing back catcher. And this and when I was playing Little League, there was this like older Latino gentleman. Old man used to come to the games like he was act like he was at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
He'd come with his seat, and you know he loved baseball, loved watching the games, and he was like that one right there. He's the best catcher from the Bronx. It's Yogi. He's the best. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
So the kids, you know, they just be like, they used to laugh at him because you know he was loud. I think he used to be drunk half the times, but yeah.
So it kind of stuck once he started saying that.
Yeah. So when it transitioned into the industry, it just kind of just stayed. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was like, maybe he had like an affinity for Yogi Bear, but I didn't even think about baseball with Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have been like a baseball star if you would have stuck with it? Like
that was great.
You was great.
That's great.
Are you hyping or you was?
I swear to you. No, but I really was. I had a actually, I don't think not too many people know this story. I had where we lived when I was growing up in the Bronx, we had terraces. And my next door neighbor, when I was about 16, my next door neighbor, older lady, got locked out her apartment. And my mom was like, you know, Miss Dodge, she got locked out. You know, can you climb over the terrace into her apartment from this one lady's apartment to her apartment to you know, get into her apartment and you know let her in.
Right.
And I was like, all right, yeah, you know, love Miss Dashi, you know, my mom, that was not a problem. And when I got over, when I came down, she had like a broken fish tank at the bottom, and when I came down, it cut my Achilles.
Oh,
it cut my Achilles, and that was it. Like, you know, anybody knows anything about Achilles?
Yeah, you know, messed that up. Yeah,
so it was really it was. But I was really good. I love all sports, but you know, I kind of thrived in baseball. Like it was just weird. Like you know what I'm saying, like black, like you know, because it was mostly you know
Latinos,
kids, you know, and
with
white
the
kids,
stick and ball and
but it was just like I was nice.
Okay. So do you think had that not happened, you wouldn't have really transitioned into music? You kind of really would have took that serious?
It's like I was good. Like I ended up like I got I was preseason All City in the Bronx. You know, I was really good. But you know, who knows? Like you know, I don't even really think about it. But since it came up, it was like yeah, you know, I was at the time like in the middle of it. Like at the time, I was really good. Yeah.
Do you enjoy watching that sport now?
I don't even watch it anymore.
Okay.
Strictly, you know,
basketball, football.
okay. Boxing, yeah.
Okay. So you said you grew up in the Bronx.
Yeah.
We're filming in the Bronx now. So like from where we are now, like how far away would you say is your neighborhood of where you grew up?
I'm not far from here. Maybe about a 5-minute drive.
What's your neighborhood called? Like I'm not
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette. Yeah, I'm in the Soundview section. Everybody kind of knows LIP.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So who else besides yourself is a notable coming from that neighborhood? Who else?
From Lafayette?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a lot of what's my man? What's my man? No, they the Legion. The Legion.
Legion of Doom?
Nah, not the Legion. The Legion came from the Bronx. That was they was there with they was there with Black Sheep, Drez and them. Legion, my man Molecules and Sean and them. Yeah, they had a couple mean records. You know, they was from over there. That was right in Lafayette. Lafayette was like kind of small, but the whole Soundview section, Tariq and Peter Guns, they was from there. Who else? I don't know. I tuned out. I got to tune out, but I know it's some cats. I'm sorry if I forgot. Plus,
no, because I really don't know. So I would like to. This is really like my first time coming and kind of experience. Like I got to go to Times Square today and stuff like that. So I want to really come up here for like a week and really like go to different boroughs and really experience and immerse myself in the culture that is New York, from the arts to the food to everything. Because it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, and you gotta.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I got to go to Quad Studios today. That was.
You went to Quad today.
I went to Quad today. Okay. I had to. So yeah, I went past there today, but yeah, so growing up in the Bronx, how did you really like connect with music? What was your first memory, if you can remember, that like really opened your eyes that music might be what you want to go into? Oh man, I can't lie, I was really young. I was my cousin was a DJ. Okay. And in the hood at this time I'm living in Lafayette, but I'm really in Jefferson at this time. Like when I'm like 8 years old, Jefferson Projects, which is in East Harlem, which is in Harlem, East Harlem. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so when I'm at that time, this is like the beginning of hip hop and everything. And I'm hearing about it, and it's like, everybody had the fly ass names, like Flash, and it was just like. It just seemed like they all seemed like superheroes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Flash. The name Flash was a superhero name, but they just seemed larger than life. So, okay. So when I heard some of the stuff, some of the tapes and everything, it was like, yo, this is it. Like this is like it just overcame you, you know what I mean? Right. Because it was like you had never experienced anything like it, At least, I was young, but... Before then, it was more, I guess, like R&B. It was just, it was just like music, and then it just kind of like pivoted to like, yo, this is new. Right. This is like, you know what I'm saying? What is this? We didn't even know what to call it. We didn't even know what to call it, yeah. Because I swear they wasn't calling it no hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? They was, people was rap, you know what I'm saying? They probably... I think that, they was calling it rap or, you know what I'm saying? But, it just was new. It was a new energy, and it was forget about it. Everybody was moving in that direction. As you can see now, it's like the new job to be the have. And it's just kind of like taking over the world. It's not, it's not even like a music genre anymore. It's just really like a way of life for people. You know what I'm saying? It's across the seas, it's everything now to people, you know what I mean? Right. So, that's cool. To be able to have a chance to, see that from its kind of inception, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm actually really proud of that. To see where music's gone and how it's growing and going. Yeah. That is amazing to be a part of that history
Yeah.
on so many different levels.
Yeah.
So when you first really connected with hip hop and music, did you think I wanna create it lyrically, or I wanna be the person that creates the feeling that I got as far as the beat is concerned? Like
it was definitely at first. It was definitely lyrically.
It was definitely lyrically.
Definitely lyrically.
Okay.
Yeah. At first, it was just sort of like, you know, when you heard the dude rapping or just getting on the mic and singing, you know, and the vibes was super simple.
Right.
But it just sounded. It's, you know what I tell you know. It's crazy. I tell people this shit. It sounds a little crazy, but in a lot of ways, I feel like Muhammad Ali kind of invented rap. You know what I mean? Because with his float like a butterfly, sting like a bee thing, you know what I'm saying? It was so cool that I feel like it made people said that so many times, and then somebody said, I'm a just kind of like, you know, make my own version of that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like
a slick
tutor,
little fly
you know
way
what I mean?
to say some...
Exactly, and then it went, and then somebody was like, "Yo, I'm the KOO."
Okay.
And then, you know, they said they little thing, and then they man was like, "Oh, that's how," and then, you know, and then it became like, you know, the next person would say it, and I think it just kind of grew because really, you know, there was people rapping. There was people rapping, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like in the 60s, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, there's like a, you know, the Pygmy Markham record, Here Come the Judge. He was rapping. I think it was in the 60s.
Okay.
You know? But it wasn't, you know, he wasn't Ali. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is to this day. Ali is, you know, he's a deity to even like the, you know, to the Jay-Z's and the, you know, to the Kanye's, to the people, you know, to the Obamas. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a deity to them. So it's like, imagine it. When he was right in the middle of it.
Right.
Doing what he was doing, fighting and everything like that. I could just imagine. I was too young to really, you know, in his prime. But yeah, I feel like that's where it kind of started, and then, you know, when it came to, you know, the like the late 70s, you know, the raps were kind of simple, but it was fly. It was like an Ali rhyme. It was flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Right.
You know, a set a hip, a hop, a hip to the hip. You know what I'm saying? It was just
how they put it together with the beat and the smooth. It was like what
crazy.
People needed to hear. It's like it just like struck it like resonated with the people from that, you know, grew up, I mean, watching the boxing and stuff like that, and then they, you know, was like, oh, you can put this to music, you can, you can make it longer, it's not just like, you know, the little rhymes that he would say, but you can lengthen it, and then you can throw a hook, and it's a DJ, and you can, so, okay. So watching, you know, I guess, growing up in the birthplace of hip-hop, and then really kind of seeing the inception of it, and being inspired by it. You said you saw yourself as a lyricist, but how did you, I guess, maybe transition into production?
Well, yeah, the production part came a little bit later. I was rapping, and basically production came out of necessity. I did a deal with Jam Master Jay, and Jay put me up in the studio in the Bronx, and he was just like, "Yo, go make your records, And you know, it's like I didn't really know before that. Everything was, you know, people were bringing, you know, it was other producers that would bring me stuff and things like that. So when he put me in the studio, and it was just like I would just be in the lab, just there, and it would be no beats. You know what I'm saying? At that time, like beats was like, it was like a commodity. Like you couldn't just get. It wasn't like now, like any kid could just make a beat. Like you had to really like have a studio, like almost like you had to kind of be somebody like to have to make beats.
Okay.
You know, and so I had the studio to myself. You know what I'm saying? You know, me and my guys, and it just would be like, okay. you know, I started tapping on things I had seen. You know, I seen other producers kind of like, you know, make beats, and you know, I kind of knew what I wanted, so I would just start. You know, I would start doing my thing, and you know, I made a couple things, and I would play them for Jay, and Jay would be like, "Yo, this shit is fire." You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay. So I just kept on. I just kept on from there.
So you said for you and your guys, is this when you were with Crew?
No, this is before Crew.
Okay.
This is before Crew. Yeah, it was just me. And before Crew, I was with I had my DJ Tim Scratch. He used to make the beats. He used to make beats, and you know, my boy IG Off. It was a couple cats. You know what I'm saying? I used to listen to this dude named Fat Doug, who's from the Bronx, who's kind of ill. Who's ill. You know what I'm saying? Fat Doug, let me just a quick 2-minute song about Fat Doug, who people don't know. Fat Doug did the Come and Talk to Me remix with Puffy. Like, a lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love the remix of Come and Talk to Me.
What?
That's like better than the regular version.
And that's the first. That's really like the first remix. That was Puff's first remix. You know what I'm saying?
What?
So you know what he became known for. You know what I'm saying? But Fat Doug was a dude that I used to emulate when I used to hear his beats. I was like, yo, he's crazy. And so when I went in the studio, I was like basically trying to when I would hear like Fat Doug's beats, I'd be like, yo, I want that. I want that. I'm gonna try to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know. But yeah, so that's how I ended up producing. Jay put me in the studio. Yeah.
So once you really got behind the boards and you seen, you know, you had some skills, you were kind of okay, and you were fiddling around. Did you feel like, okay, maybe now production's a little bit, or you still wanted to be a lyricist, but you knew you could make your own beats now?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember exactly that point where I was like, yo, I'm more of a producer now. But, yeah, like I think when he brought me in and just having to when Jay brought, you know, had me in the studio and I'm just making joints, and it just was like, yo, I could kind of, you know, mold what I want. You know what I'm saying? It kind, you know, it was like, yeah, I think this is, you know, and I would always be, you know, I was always on the more creative side. I was always like, you know, anything that I wanted to do or hear, I always wanted to be a little bit like, yo, let's push it a little bit.
Okay.
Yo, we could do something, you know what I'm saying? We could do something iller. Let's do something different, you know? And I think that worked for me in what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would always get, that, you know, he's different, you know what I'm saying? His beats are different, you know, and I appreciated that. Like, I was almost like better than just being ill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like that he was a little different. That was dope to me. You know?
I mean, that's a compliment in that realm. To not, you know, to stand out, because there's so many beats that sound the same, that have the same cadence or, you know, flow pattern, I guess beat pattern, but to have that one that stands out that's like, ooh, what was that?
Right.
Whose is that? Who made that beat type of situation? Like, that's always dope. Yeah. Okay. So, you said that was before Crew. How and when did Crew come about? Like, so if that was before, then you still kept on the lyricist train. How did that formulate?
So Jay, I started the JMJ label.
Record label.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I did a deal with him, and it didn't really work out. I can't remember exactly what happened. It's been a while, but my boy Stace, you know, Chris Lighty, I should have, when you was talking about Lafayette, even though Chris is not from Lafayette, a lot of people know he lived in Lafayette for many years, so a lot of people, you know, we claim him in a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? So when you was talking about who came from Lafayette, I mean, or who was from Lafayette, you know, he kind of was one of them. So, but Chris and I, we didn't really know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? So Chris is managing, you know, Tribe and Della and everybody, and working with Leo and everybody, and I had the stuff. I had my music that I did with Jay.
Mm-hmm.
So my boy was like, yo, we need to go see Chris. So we went to go see Chris, and Chris heard it and was like, yo, what's up with this? You know, oh, no. Okay, wait a minute. Just we're going to go back just a tad. Transitioning from Jay to Chris, I was still in the studio, and I was like, I still had the studio time. So I was like, you know what? I'm producing it. I was like, yo, let me get. It was this my man Hart. It was at first. It was. I was looking for my man and Mighty Hart, who's this dude from around the way, who was just like, you know what I'm saying. He was a little bit older than me, but I thought he was. You know, I loved him. He was a star. Everybody. He was like legendary, just for being less like, you know, just a wild guy. You know what I'm saying. He was almost like an old dirty bastard.
Okay.
Dude, you know what I'm saying. And but he was my man, you know, and I say, but he was a nomad. Like, it was really hard to find him, you know. He would be around the way, and then he would kind of disappear. And I put out at all points. I was like, yo, listen, you know what I'm saying. Everybody knew I was making the music. I was like, yo, get my man, and you know what I'm saying. We're gonna make, you know, I'm gonna put him in the lab, and you know, kind of like he was gonna be like the hype man, because he didn't do anything.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he, like, yo, get the rap or get the. He just was just my, you know, he just was a wild dude. And so first Hard came in, and then Chad was a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Chad was like DJing, and so we had went to, it was like a house party, and I remember he was DJing, and then I remember my man Pete was like, yo, should let Chad, you know, DJ. I was like, yo, dope. I was like, yeah, that's it. So, you know what I'm saying, and Chad came in. So that was sort of like the dynamic. Like, I was rapping, Hall was like the hype man, Chad was the DJ. But then when I, you know what I'm saying, I used to, you know, when I would get to the studio, you know what I'm saying, I would kind of just like, you know, be like, yo, get on this, you know what I'm saying, like get on this. I remember Chad, he had some rhymes, so I was like, yo, get on this joint. And then I was like, yo, we'll do it like this. I was like, yo, we'll just make it a group, you know what I'm saying, me and him a rap, you know what I'm saying, Hard be the hype man, and you know what I'm saying, and then I played it for Lighty, and Lighty was like, yo, let's do it, you know what I'm saying, and he was about to sign his deal with Def Jam, you know, his Violator label through Def Jam, and then, you know what I'm saying, we ended up doing that, so.
Okay, and how long did Crew last before it disbanded?
Before it disbanded, I mean, we did the, you mean from like our inception or from like, or the first record? Well, we you know what I'm saying, like that would have been like 93, 94 maybe. You know what I'm saying? We dropped our record in 97, the album. You know what I'm saying? Even though we had, you know, like we used to do like you know, promo and stuff, Red Alert and things like that. But the album actually dropped 97, and then I mean, after the album, we just kind of like, you know what I'm saying, it just, yeah, it was, you know, we had started working on the second album. Chad had started like doing like some solo stuff, you know what I'm saying, and that was, you know, that was cool. And then it was just like I had my little cousins who was like, you know, they seen me, you know, by this time, I'm like one of the hitmen, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So I'm doing stuff with, I'm running around with Puff. I'm running around with all of them, you know what I'm saying? All of them, all of them, Lighty, Puff, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm on Def Jam, Lee also, Kev Last, I'm there, so, everybody, and I was like, yo, my little cousins, they got talent. I was like, yo, well, while Chad is doing that, we'll do some, we'll do this. And I just kind of like, we all started rhyming together. And I thought that was, I thought that stuff was dope. So, but it was still like, it was still like crew was still together. You know what I'm saying? But it was not, I don't know if it was ever really.
So it wasn't like a disbandment. It's just like we just kind of started going in different directions, doing different things, and it just, went by the wayside, kind of. Perfect. What's your name again? Oh, it's Karman Kush. Don't you know what, Yogi? Don't do me like that. Okay. Don't laugh me out.
Because I want to be like, yo, like
I know, right? But I'm glad you caught yourself. See, you caught yourself because you was about to say it, and you was like, wait, what's your name? What you going by these days again? There you go. So you brought up about the Hitmen. So how did that transition happen? Like, how did you kind of, merge into that producer conglomerate?
Well, Puff actually, at one time, when we were still signing the Violator, you know what I'm saying? Because we did the deal with Violator, and it took maybe like a year and a half for everything to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like, things was like moving super slow. Okay. And Puff was like, yo, like, I'm a sign up. You know what I'm saying? So we were going to, and we was just like, yo, but we signed them. Like, right. I just like, yo, I mean, whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny because probably the reason we even came out as fast as we did was because he hit up, like I remember going to Chris's office, and it's funny, he had like this wry look on his face. You know what I'm saying? He told, and he was like, yo, I got a call today. He's like, yeah, your man Puff hit me. He was like, yo, he told me, shit, I get off the pot. I was like, really? I don't even think I knew what the fuck that meant at the time. That was the first time I heard it. I was like, he told you shit, I get off the pot. I was like, I ain't nothing, man. And I swear to you, like our shit was dropping, like next thing you know, everybody at Def Jam is sort of like, you know what I'm saying, because that's what happens when somebody else shows you a little bit of interest. It was like, so so that's how that went. So, when we ended up not signing that BadBoy, it was just like, well, I'll go do the I'll go over there as a producer, and that's why.
That is one of the most legendary production teams in hip hop history to date. Like it's in like the top 5 of production crews. How, I mean, did that feel to be a part of such a historic? I mean, at the time, I guess maybe it didn't. Now looking back, how much of a historical moment that was. But at the time, being around some of the top producers in the game, like, and feeding off of ideas and things like that. I mean, being a person who started as an artist and kind of fell into production, like, how did that kind of feel, and how was that experience?
I mean, it was dope, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was, like I said, I was super creative, so it was sort of like, I was a huge fan of like, I mean, all of them. All of them. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the time, like early on, because I was there, like, like from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And plus, you know what I'm saying, I just always had my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm great. I think I'm ill.
As
you know what I'm
should.
saying? And I always, you know what I'm saying, and I don't always play well with others. You know what I'm saying? So when it all started, it was sort of like, you know, like I don't know about the whole team thing. I don't know, you know, because at the time, because I'm trying to think, was there any other? I don't know. Was there? I mean, I guess like
at that time, I would think maybe.
Nah, you know who it was? The Bomb Squad.
Okay.
You know, that was doing Public Enemy.
Right.
And I mean, Trackmasters, I think was around. I think they were around. I know Tone was doing this. I know he was making beats, but yeah, I didn't really know.
What year did Hitmen kind of really come together? Was it formed?
This would have been probably like 94.
Okay. So then, yeah, y'all probably were the beginning of something like that.
I mean,
because it was ones that came after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it was sort of like, I mean, you know, I was different because I was one of the different ones because I was also an artist. So and I was on Def Jam, so it was sort of like, you know, I was over, you know what I'm saying, I was over there kind of doing my own thing, you know what I mean? And I wasn't doing a lot of like, you know, like Stevie J, who's my man, and I think is a fucking amazing. I mean, he might have more hits than just about anybody, you know what I'm saying, out there. You know, his discography is ridiculous. But you know, he did a lot of, you know, he understood it. Like Stevie was about it. Like he ain't give a fuck. He was about getting that paper. He was like, yo, it's like, what? Don Ross, give me that shit. I'm flip that shit. Yes. What? Luther Vandross, like what? Like it just, he didn't care. Like he was, and I'm like, what? I'm just like, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I'm looking at, you know, Pete Rock and Primo and
right,
Large Pro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, dudes that was sort of just like eclectic
Premier.
And, you know, yeah, doing all of this wild shit, and I'm just like, yo, that's, you know, and even though, you know what I'm saying, you had D-Dot and Nasheem and Carlos, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, they were more of that, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So yeah, but it was dope. Like it was dope, like just to see like Chucky Thompson. That nigga was crazy. Like you know what I'm saying? So being able to see these guys just was like, you know.
I mean, now reflecting on it and realizing what it, I mean, because at the time, like I said, it was new, so you didn't know what now it would be hailed as and regarded as. I mean, Hitmen are regarded in high, you know, or held in high regard. So to know that you're in that list, that it's, you know, part of hip hop history. But speaking of hip hop history, you also have one of the Bad Boys' historical hits, the Let's Get It. Like that record is one of Bad Boy's monumental hits in my eyes. Like when
it was cool. It was cool.
I hate people who do great things. Like, you know,
yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It's definitely a dope beat. You know what I'm saying? It definitely is a dope beat. You know.
I mean, it's a dope song, dope video. So it's like the whole thing.
Great video.
Yeah.
Great video.
So just to be a part of making the song happen, making the video happen, without the beat, none of that, you were like, you know, you're the ingredients that made the meal.
You're right, Karman.
Yogi, I can't take you, yo. No, but no, I don't want you to, I mean, like, I want you to own that. Like,
I own it.
I own it literally, like I own it.
Yeah, I don't touch it. I do. But yeah, it was a dope record, and I just, you know what I'm saying, I had a lot of fun. Like my thing was, I never was really, you know, because even like that, you know what I'm saying, it was a, you know, I never thought it would be a single because it was, you know, chopped up, you know, Al Green, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, I when I heard it, you know, I just was like, yo, this is for the spitters, yeah, this is for the spitters, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, being with that team and just Puff having vision and just saying, yo, I think this is You know, I think this is single material. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was dope because, like, I think around that time, I think, like, when he kind of really, you know, when Puff and I really, like, kind of, like, fell into our thing where it was like, yo, I was one of his, you know, when I kind of became one of his main guys, he was going a little bit left. Like, he was leaving the, you know, the 80s sample thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, he was kind of
straying away from that.
You know, and that was a good time to have me there because it was like, okay, you know, Yo is, you know, he can do that. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to not try to make, you know, one of those.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So who'd you play it for first?
Got a great story.
With that, like, who heard it was like, oh yeah, I'm about that.
Oh, shout out! No, Bobby Springsteen, the A&R guy for BadBoy at the time. He heard the beat. We were in soundtracks, and he heard the beat, and I, you know, and I can't even remember what we were doing there. Like we were doing. I think we were doing something else. It was another song. Excuse me. We were doing another song, and I just, you know, I played a couple of things, and it was like, he was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, yo, it's just a joint. He was like, all right. It's like, it's just a joint. It's like, all right, you know, give me that. The next thing I know, it was like, you know what I'm saying? I went. Puff actually was like, yo. He was like, yo, we did this joint last night.
Mm-hmm.
We got here, and he played. I was like, oh, okay, this is crazy, right? But I still didn't think it was like, I didn't know it was gonna be a single, especially with all of them. Like, I thought maybe because Puff was on it, you know what I'm saying? You know, Puff would make himself to sing. He'd be like, I'm on it. It's a single, that good. But I still wasn't sure. But you know what I'm saying? Then, you know, they hit me up. It was like, yo.
I mean, that shit's fucking fire to this day. Like, you put that on, you can't help but move. You do the Harlem Shake. Like, them kids got down in that fucking video, bro. They set the tone for, like, the party time energy that was being had in that era. Like, because Puffy was kind of, like you said, transitioning to a different sound post Biggie's death and stuff like that. So, to be a part of that sound was gotta be amazing. So, what are you doing now musically? Like, are you still in the game? You just watch it from afar?
I'm not, you know, I'm you know what? It's like I have a lot of friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sort of like once you're bad boy, you're like always bad boy. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I have a lot of friends still in the industry, and you know, I'm not in it like I was.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it was, you know, I just never, you know, it you know, when things started, I guess maybe like around, like right around like when a lot of the labels started to merge and things like that, and even like with this doesn't have anything to do with me, but just I'm just to give you a timeline around the time of MP3s and like Napster and all of that stuff. It was just like, yo, it's like, yo, this industry is like, it's really cutthroat, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I really, you know, I just really just fell out of love at the time, you know what I'm saying? Out of love with certain things.
Okay.
But I was always a creative, so I just, you know, when you're creative, you create. You know what I'm saying? You just always create.
Right. It's just natural for you to do that.
You just always create, whether, you know, and it goes back to, you know, my beginnings. It's like whether people are hearing it or, you know, or not, it's still like you still be out there creating and making some things that, you know, or finding things. That's, you know, like, you know, I always like to keep my ear to the streets and, you know, or now to the internet.
I guess it's, yeah.
Social media.
Because before it was the streets, now it's like, oh, just click log into some site, you're gonna get the new song.
Yeah, so people will let you know, like, yo, there's something going on over here, and it won't be like a place. It's like a somebody's Instagram and shit. Right. Yo, it's popping over there. Like, okay,
it's popping on IG.
Yeah.
Click that link in their bio. Go to their SoundCloud. So, I mean, what do you feel about today's sound and the direction of music and just the industry as a whole? Streaming, things are different. It's not a lot of record sales. It's more, streaming numbers. And, like, what do you feel about just watching where the industry has gone, both artistically and, I guess, business-wise?
Excuse me. I think I like a lot of music. First of all, it's a lot. This is like one of the greatest times to be a creative. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if you have an idea, you could create and bring that idea into fruition. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all any creative could ever really want. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make something, you want people to hear it, you can make it. You know what I'm saying? And so even though it's a lot, that's the one thing. It is a lot. It's a lot of, you're gonna have to sift through the bad. You know what I'm saying? But I think you're gonna find now that there is a lot of creative stuff out there, a lot of hot stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like when I hear Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? I think Kendrick's amazing, you know what I'm saying? I tell people, like, because there was a lot of, with the Crew album, we had a lot of, like, it wasn't like a movie, but we strung along a lot of songs. Like, we had a lot of, like, we would put like 3 and 4 and 5 songs together, and they all kind of like went together, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And at the time, you know what I'm saying, that was something that I was really proud of, because it was like, I had never heard it anywhere, you know what I'm saying? So when I heard Kendrick's album, not the first one, but Good Kid, I was just like, shit, you know what I'm saying? So, and then to just hear, the progress, you know what I'm saying, all the way down to Damn, it's like, I hear him and I'll just be like, yo, this motherfucker's wow. Yo, he's, what the fuck is he on? Like, he's, so I really appreciate him. And a lot of cats, like, it's a lot of cats that I hear, I'll be like, yo, some of the producers, I never really thought I would get into the, into the 808 trap sound, but like now, like, since you hear so much of it now, it's like now my ear can kind of hear things, and I'll be like, oh, that motherfucker nice. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at first it was like they all just, because it was all the same drums, so it was hard to
find one that stood out from the
next. It just was all the same, but now you hear motherfuckers, this was like, yo, what? Like, they must be like on, like, some do, because technology, with technology being what it is, it's like, yeah, you might have your laptop, but it's motherfuckers that, like, they into the plugins heavy, and it's like really like, you're like almost like a scientist, like it's math and shit, you know what I'm saying? So they making 808s, you know what I'm saying, bounce all over the fucking place, and it's like, on the radio, like sometimes on the radio, like you can't really tell, it's just like, yo, this beat is hot, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I guess because just my love for it, like I'll be like, yo, you know what I'm saying, the subtleties and shit in certain beats, to just be like, this guy's amazing, so. But yeah, I think it's a lot of ill stuff right now, and man, I love what these kids are doing, and some of the older cats.
So what do you feel about like how it's like a little bit of a disconnect, I guess, generational wise? Like the older cats are kind of giving the younger kids some scrap about, you know, there being no real substance and things like that in their music. But that kind of goes back to what we spoke about earlier when you said the lyrics used to be really simple. It wasn't like it was a lot of thought process in what was being put together. It was more, you know, catching the beat, making it rhyme, keeping it fly, and saying some things that got the people going. And that's kind of what we're in now. But they're being judged. So what would you, you know, say to maybe...
I mean, like Tupac ain't have a nose ring too. Right? Like, it's just like, I mean, these, you know, everywhere, you know, in every era is you got cats that are just like, yo, I want to do it. I want it to be more, you know, I want to have more substance. And then some dudes that's just like, yo, I just want to just have fun. You know what I'm saying? And it's, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of it, you know. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with it then. You know, when or now, you know, when I was listening to like, you know, Milk and Giz Top Billing, I was like,
hey,
like, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But everybody at the time was like, yo, nobody, you know, nobody was like, yo, he's going,
it's still what more can I say? Top billing. That's what we. Hey, that shit used to be. Yes, it was simple, but it was hard as fuck, yo.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was a moment in hip hop, and it was. But nobody was looking at them like, yo, y'all are, you know, Rakim, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. But it fit. But when we was at the jams, you know what I'm saying, Rakim came, you know, Top Billing came on. I Know You Got Soul came on. The same spot. Everybody went crazy. So now, you know, you somewhere, and, you know, you'll hear, you know, Young Thugger, or and you'll hear, you know, a J. Cole record, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, more like, you know, definitely like a Kendrick, and, you know, Big Sean. He makes dope music, you know what I'm saying, and he got lyrics. You know, some dudes that can, you know, they like, yo, I want my shit to be, you know, have some depth, but that beat gotta be knocking. The chorus you gotta turn up to my shit. So, you know, everybody's finding their niche and their balance. But right now, it's a great time. No matter what, you know, should I be looking at? I'm just looking all over the place.
You good, yo.
It's like 40 minutes in, right? But yeah, it's like, even if you're making, like, you know, movies or everything, it's just like you just decide, yo, I'm gonna make it.
Right.
And this is the time, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't need, you know, everything you need is at your, you know, right there at your fingertips, you know? You know, whether, you know, you don't need distribution, you don't need any of that shit. You don't need nothing. All you need is just the, you know, to be creative and the balls to go do it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, create it and give it to the world, and, you know, finish it, and, you know what I'm saying? And then the rest is really like, you know, a lot of footwork and you know, just, you know, networking,
Right.
Exactly. So,
building those relationships. I mean, I guess that's the most important thing at this point, because back then you didn't really have the luxury of being able to get your stuff out there as quickly and rapidly, but now that you do, it's like you really have to formulate those relationships with the right people and build those stepping stones. So if you were still in the game, who's somebody outside of Kendrick, because you've expressed your love for him, that you would see yourself working with based on how you...
A lot of people. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, let me see, like somebody, let me see. Who am I feeling right now?
Like, who you bumping? Who's on your playlist? Who's in your car? Who you like? I like this young kid. If I was still doing music, man, I'd snatch him up, bring him in the studio real quick.
Shit. Well, you know, I mean, see, sort of like that lyric guy. So it's funny where we are in the beat. I'm always like a friend. I've been like a friend to Godson dude for like fucking probably like almost a decade now. It's crazy that he's not like a household name. Maybe he is, and I don't know it. But yeah, at least 8 years since like 08. Yeah, like yeah. So Fred the Godson, you know, but like out of the people that we know, I like the Migos.
You like Migos?
I like
oh, okay.
they're ill.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, no, they're dope to me. Let me see. I was really into Fetty. I would love to see him come back. I don't know. He's been quiet lately.
He got a lot of kids. So I don't know.
Yeah, see, I don't see. I just know the music. I don't even know what's going on. You got a bunch of them?
Got a bunch of them, man, at the same damn time. But, yeah. Okay, so Fetty or me, he's not at all.
Patterson. Shout out to all these niggas in
Patterson, New Jersey. They shooting the clubs up, man.
Niggas wild out there. Shout out to the Figs. They from Patterson, my family. And they motherfuckers. I was out there. Patterson might be the craziest place on earth. That's probably why I respect Fetty so much. Like you know, being from New York, we know New York was, you know, it was some places that was really bad, but I had never been anywhere like Patterson, New Jersey. That shit was crazy.
Isn't that what? Isn't Naughty by Nature from New Jersey?
Nah, they from Newark. Newark is
crazy too.
Okay. But I had the experience with Patterson. God bless them. There's a place called Alabama Project. They had to shut that shit down. That shit was rubble.
Oh.
But it's
so because in my notes, never go to Patterson. Like no, drive straight through that bitch.
That shit probably gentrified now a little bit, you know, like every place else. But it was a scare. Y'all niggas had me shocked. God bless Patterson.
Okay. Well, shit, we got to know a lot about, you know, your history, what you got going on, your views on the state of hip-hop and things like that. So, do you think you'll ever come back in the game, or you done?
You know what? It's
done.
No,
I'm never say never.
I'm never done that. It's like I'm always in there. Like I'm in there now. But it's just like I just like to just
play it back.
Yeah.
Super heavy, like want to get like, oh yeah, keep that, keep that. That's not nice.
I mean, yeah, and you know, on the production and just, you know, I'm always trying to be ahead of the curve on what's going on. So I'm always, you know, I'm always there. You know what I'm saying? That's always been kind of my main lane. You know, I know people, you know, I don't do a lot of interviews when people speak to me, even when it's just like, you know, people come up to me, it's like, you know, they want to speak about, you know, the rapping and the production, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I was always, my whole thing was, you know, probably the thing that I'm most proud of was just being able to, like, from the beginning, see talent and wherever I was. Like I said, I lived in Jefferson, and Black Rob was my guy. I was with Puff, and I didn't discover Rob. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that, using that term, because it's like, you know, did Columbus discover America? Right. You know what I'm saying? But Rob is on Bad Boy because of my relationships, you know what I'm saying, with Puff and my guys, you know what I'm saying, and you know, and then from Lafayette, from Jefferson, I was in Lafayette, and then, you know, that was crew, and just bringing my guys along there, and then, you know, and then my family members, you know what I'm saying, you know, my hood fellas crew, you know what I'm saying, those are my little cousins, and, you know, they got their shot on Bad Boy, you know what I'm saying, so that was always a source of pride for me just to have someone, you know, to be able to say like, yo, wherever I was, you know, those guys, I was going to make sure, you know, I wanted my guys to come along, you know what I mean? You know, and I was always looking, and I was, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm best at, just really just finding the guys, you know what I'm saying? And saying, yo, these right here, you know what I'm saying? So.
Okay, I can see you doing that, yo. You are good at that. You are good at that. Well, I thank you so much for coming on the show. Like, seriously, I'm like super honored because, like I said, you're a legend in the game. So humble, as you all can see. Still so humble. But no, thank you. Of course, you're like family to me, and now you're family to the show. But stay in touch. I know you like no IG Yogi, so like you don't have any social media or anything. But like, just, you know, do those artists out there who watch this, like, do your history, know from whence hip hop came, know the people that came before you, have a little bit more respect for those who came before you, and really like do your research. But it's been Karman Kush. It's been the legend, even though he doesn't like to think that way, Yogi, on my show, Kush and Convo. We're up in the Bronx, the boogie down. I've been doing my New York accent. I've been staying. I want to get a do-rag and like stand real like crazy, real Onyx like. You know? Play slam real loud. But it's been
shout out to DC too. DC is like, oh my God, that's y'all niggas is scary too. Shout out to DC. I done had some, it been some things. You know?
You remembering, you reminiscing.
Shout out to the district.
The
Shout out to the district.
The district, the 30.BC. But thank you guys for tuning in as I took over New York as only I can.
All right.